So here we're going to look at some examples on how to take an expanded version of a log and condense it down into a single piece. So in order to do that, again, what we want to do is we want to actually look more at the innermost properties and then apply out to the outermost properties. So essentially what you're doing to condense is you're going to reverse anything you might have done when you had to expand. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to notice that right off the bat I have a power rule. And so with that power rule, what that says is that my first term is going to be left alone. I have the log base 5 of x. I'm still subtracting, but here this is going to become the log base 5 of y squared. The very next thing that I have to do here is I have the subtraction, which is my quotient rule. And so with that quotient rule, what's going to happen is we're going to end up with log base 5, and we are going to have x over y squared. So the way the quotient rule works is your first term is your numerator and your second term is your denominator. Okay, so again, so you don't forget, my first term here is going to be the numerator, and the back term here is going to be the denominator. And so that's how we end up writing it. Alright, let's look at another one. So here we have to pay very close attention to the parentheses that we have so that you can identify what it truly goes where. So the first thing we have to start with here is a power rule. And so with that power rule, what that says is we're going to start right off the bat by having the log base 7 of x squared minus the log base 7 of pq to the 1/5. Now the next thing that we're going to look at again is that I have my quotient rule. So my quotient rule, just like before, is going to say that my x squared here is going to go in the numerator, and my pq is going to go in the denominator. So with that, I still have everything inside of parentheses, and this time we're going to have log base 7, and it's going to be of x squared over pq. Now and this is still to the 1/5. Now the very last thing that we have to remember is that this piece here is a rational, which means it is a root. And so the very final step that we need to include is we need to transform this into my root. So we would end up having the log base 7 of the 5th root of x squared over pq. And that would be the most condensed version of this expression. Alright, let's take a look at another one here. So just like before, we need to identify the pieces we're working with. So this first right here, we have a power. We then have another power right here with my 4, so this is a power. And then last with the 3, this is a power. So we're going to go ahead and use the power rule for all of those. So this is going to become the log base A for the square root of x. And I'm doing that because this is a fraction, and we know that rationals are square roots. So here we've got the square root. We're then going to have plus the log base A of y to the 4th minus the log base a of x cubed. Now we're going to start from the left hand side, and the first thing that would come from right here is going to be your product rule. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So this is going to become the log base a of y to the fourth square root of x minus the log base a of x cubed. And then the very last thing that we have right here is my quotient. So with the quotient, again, that means that this entire term here is going to be your numerator. And it also means that my x cubed is going to be the denominator. And so here what happens is we end up with the log base a of y to the fourth square root of x, and the whole thing is over an x cubed. Alright, last but not least, I have this one here. So again, we're going to start from the outside in. So I'm going to start with this 2. And here this is going to be a power rule. And it's the only one I have. So in this case, this becomes the log of a squared b, and it's squared, minus the log of 1 over b, plus the log of 1 over a. Now in this case, the next thing that we have to look at is going to be, again, starting from the left hand side. So we're going to do the quotient. So in this case, we're going to ignore this a 1 over a. My first term is going to be the numerator, and the 1 over b is going to be the denominator, or the bottom. So the way that's going to change is we're now going to have the log of a squared b, that whole thing is squared, all over 1 over b, and we are going to add this to the log of 1 over a. Now before I do my next property, what I need to do here is I'm going to take this fraction and I need to reduce and simplify. So here, first thing I need to do is apply my powers. So off to the side here I have a to the fourth b squared, and the whole thing is over 1 over b. Okay. Now one thing that we know about fractions is you keep the top and you flip the reciprocal of the bottom. And so here this is going to become a to the fourth b squared, and I'm going to multiply all of this by a b. And so when we do that, what we end up getting here is a to the fourth b cubed. Okay, and so that is our simplified version. And so here we're going to end up having the log of a to the fourth b cubed plus the log of 1 over a. Now we can go ahead and use the product. And so here the product says that we're going to have the log, and it's going to be of a to the fourth b cubed, and we're going to multiply that by 1 over a. Now just like before, I need to take this whole piece here and I need to reduce. Well, besides reducing, we're also simplifying. So in doing that, what we're going to actually end up getting here is that we're going to have the log. This is going to end up being a cubed, b cubed. And that is the condensed version from where we started. So if you have any questions about how to take an expanded version of a log and condense it down as small as you can, please let me know. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.